Not every ruler is born to reign. Many must fight simply to be recognized. Must endure in order to become strong. And must conquer the fear within themselves before they can conquer anything else. In the beating heart of East Africa, the Masai Mara is stirring gently into a new dawn. This is a land of horizons that stretch beyond imagination, where golden grasses bow to nothing but the wind. Yet beneath this serene beauty lies an arena of survival as old as the earth itself, and every bit as unforgiving. Here, there are only two roles to play: those who must hunt to live, and those who must run to survive. The Great Migration has arrived upon the sweeping grasslands of the Masai Mara. Hundreds of thousands of wildebeest and zebra now flood across this boundless plain. The thunder of their hooves rolls across the earth like a war drum that never falls silent. And, remarkably, they share this abundance in perfect harmony. Zebra, with their powerful jaws, crop the tough, dry tops of the grass, clearing the way for wildebeest to feast on the tender young shoots beneath. A flawless division of resources, orchestrated not by design, but by the quiet genius of nature itself. But such abundance never goes unnoticed. Atop a termite mound, a coalition of male cheetahs watches in silence. Their alliance grants them something a solitary cheetah could never attempt: the ambition to bring down a full-grown wildebeest. They fan out in a wide arc, sealing off every escape route before detonating the chase. In the blink of an eye, these biological machines erupt to speeds exceeding 60 miles per hour. A devastating leg sweep sends the massive body crashing into a cloud of dust. Instantly, the others converge, clamping down on the throat of their prey. Speed and unity have decided a life. But on this savannah, the true masters of the art of war wear a different face entirely. If the cheetah worships speed, then the lioness worships iron discipline. Amber shadows melt into the dry grass, utterly invisible. Their patience is terrifying. A flawless encirclement takes shape around a herd of zebra, angles measured, distances closed, positions locked. And then, with the raw power of primordial muscle, they explode from the bush. Tonight's meal is the product of a collective strategy that leaves no margin for error. Within a lion pride, every female raises every cub. The boundary between my offspring and the pride's offspring simply does not exist. They press their noses together after each night's hunt, a ritual so gentle it seems almost impossible among apex predators of this caliber. When a rival male intrudes, it is the females who form the front line and strike first, not the dominant male. Each lioness knows her exact position in the formation, because on the savannah, discipline is not merely an advantage. It is survival itself. A solitary lion is nothing more than a wanderer, a bonded pride that is the force no creature on this plain dares challenge. To reach fresh pastures, the wildebeest must now face the greatest trial of their lives. The Mara River surges before them, churning, relentless, swollen with current. Tens of thousands crowd along the crumbling cliff edge. Dust billows into the air. The tension is suffocating. Their desperate calls echo across the water, each one a plea for courage. They long to cross. But instinct whispers a warning. Beneath that murky surface, dark shapes are drifting, waiting. At a shallower bend nearby, a bloat of hippopotami lies submerged, cooling themselves beneath the searing African sun. They are herbivores, nothing more than grazers, and yet they rank among the most dangerous creatures on this entire continent. A colossal bull suddenly gapes wide, bearing a set of tusks that could crush bone like kindling. That is no idle yawn. That is a warning written in blood. He is making it unmistakably clear. The chaos on the far bank will not be permitted to trespass into his domain. And then the breaking point arrives. The first wildebeest hurls itself into the water. Instantly, thousands follow in a desperate cascade, creating a spectacle of chaos on a scale that defies belief. This is the moment that prehistoric killing machines have waited months to witness. Nile crocodiles, some measuring over 16 feet in length, glide silently toward the thrashing crowd. These are survivors of an ancient order, creatures that have endured since the age of the dinosaurs themselves. Their ambush technique is without flaw. A savage lunge. Steel-trapped jaws clamp onto the leg of an unfortunate victim. The crocodile drags the full weight of its massive body downward, pulling the wildebeest beneath the surface. Then comes the death roll, a signature maneuver that tears the prey apart in the churning current. The Mara River runs thick now with mud, with dust, with blood. Water erupts in violent sprays as the sound of panic reverberates across both banks. This is the cruelest crescendo of life itself, where the death of one creature is the continuation of another. But nature always knows how to soothe its most violent rhythms. Following the waters that flow from the Mara into the distant lowlands, we can leave this turmoil behind. The current drifts into the remote, silent marshlands of East Africa. In this waterlogged kingdom, the pulse of life slows almost to a standstill. And there, among the dense papyrus, a most extraordinary creature appears. The shoebill bearing the unmistakable silhouette of its dinosaur ancestors. It stands utterly motionless, as though carved from stone, for hours on end. Not a twitch, not a sound. Its patience is an art form of predation entirely unlike the speed of the cheetah or the brute force of the crocodile. Beneath the opaque water, a small fish drifts unwittingly into range. Then, without warning, that enormous shoe-shaped bill strikes the surface like a thunderbolt. A quarter of a second. That is all it takes. The prey is already locked inside that lethal beak. Back on the banks of the Mara, the chaos is subsiding. The surviving wildebeest shake off layers of mud, exhausted, as they scramble up the far bank. Crocodiles and lionesses alike lie sated now, basking in the brilliant African sun. The tension dissolves. The losses have been left behind on the other side of the river, yielding to a will to survive that nothing can extinguish. The sun begins its descent, painting the African sky in shades of deepest crimson. The cycle of life and death on the Masai Mara may be savage, but it is always warmed by the radiant light of the sun. And yet, surrounding the continents of our world lies a kingdom far greater in scale and far more merciless. A realm where the raw, elemental power of water dictates every boundary of existence. To truly witness the thinnest edge between life and death, we must leave behind the warm earth of the African continent. Come with us now into the cold, the dark, and the utterly unforgiving depths of the brutal Pacific. A dark shape rockets upward from the abyss. In less than 2 seconds, triangular teeth shatter the surface and seize a seal swimming above. The breach of a great white shark, violent, precise, merciless. This is not an action sequence from a film. This is breakfast. And it happens every single day, in an ocean that covers more than 1/3 of our planet's surface. The Pacific Ocean. 64 million square miles of water stretching from the Arctic to the Antarctic, from Asia to the Americas, larger than the total landmass of the entire globe combined. Nearly 10 times the area of Russia, the largest country on Earth. And that entire body of water is in constant motion, constantly changing, constantly sustaining millions of species. Ferdinand Magellan named it Pacific, peaceful, when he crossed it in 1520. But the name is a grand deception. Beneath that seemingly tranquil surface lies a vast aquatic desert, where there is no bush to hide behind, no cave to shelter in. Every creature must move without ceasing, hunt without rest, flee without pause. The average depth exceeds 13,000 feet. The deepest point, the Mariana Trench, plunges to nearly 36,000 feet, a place sunlight has never reached. From surface to abyssal floor, the Pacific holds more than half of all the ocean water on the planet. A three-dimensional world with no walls, no fences, and nowhere that is truly safe. Every species is simultaneously predator and prey. A shadow 6.5 yards long, 2 tons of muscle, 300 teeth. The great white shark. The great white is a masterpiece, sculpted by 400 million years of evolution. A torpedo-shaped body, skin covered in microscopic tooth-like scales hard as armor, slicing through water with near-zero drag. Dark grey above, pure white below, a flawless camouflage system known as counter-shading. From above, it melts into the blackness of the deep ocean floor. From below, it vanishes into the sunlit surface. The prey never sees it coming. Its hunting strategy is devastatingly simple. Ambush from below. It descends into the darkness, lies in wait, then launches vertically with explosive speed reaching 25 miles per hour. The force of the breach is so immense that the entire 2-ton body clears the surface, a terrifying aerial assault that leaves a seal with virtually no time to react. That moment, from the instant the shark leaves the deep to the instant the jaws snap shut, unfolds in less than 1 second, faster than the prey's own reflexes. But speed is only one component of this machine. Along the snout of the great white, thousands of tiny pores house sensory organs called the ampullae of Lorenzini, capable of detecting electrical impulses as faint as 1/1000th of a volt, generated by the muscles of nearby prey. Even when the prey lies perfectly still, its heartbeat emits an electrical signature, and the great white reads it. Vision, hearing, electroreception, touch. The great white shark is a complete early warning system honed by 400 million years of evolution. It existed before the dinosaurs, before the trees. Its auditory system detects low-frequency vibrations from over a mile away. An ultra-wide field of vision eyes positioned on either side of the head scans nearly the entire surrounding space. Its teeth, roughly 300 active at any given time, arranged in 5 to 7 rows, are serrated triangular blades. and they never go dull. Old teeth fall out, new ones grow in continuously throughout the shark's lifetime, up to 3,000 in a single life. With large prey such as elephant seals or sea turtles, the great white does not bite to kill immediately. It employs a tactic known as the investigatory bite. One deep, devastating strike, then it retreats. It waits for the victim to bleed, to weaken. Then it returns to finish, cold, calculated. No energy wasted. This is not blind instinct. This is strategy. Off the coast of Guadalupe Island, Mexico, researchers have observed great whites returning to the same hunting grounds year after year, evidence of a remarkable spatial memory. Each great white possesses a unique pattern along the trailing edge of its dorsal fin, like a fingerprint. This allows scientists to identify and track individual sharks across decades. The great white is a solitary creature. It does not hunt in packs. It does not share territory. The world of the great white is one of calculated solitude. No allies, no family, only itself and the sea. But even the apex of the food chain has something to fear. The orca, the killer whale, when orcas appear, great whites vanish. Not a tactical retreat, a flight. Researchers have documented the phenomenon. After an orca kills a great white and consumes its liver, a massive organ, rich in oil, accounting for roughly 1/4 of the shark's total body weight, the entire local population of great whites abandons the area and does not return for weeks. The creature that sows terror, it turns out, knows terror itself. At the edge of a coral reef, the shadow of a great white glides past. Below, a creature 20 times smaller senses the threat through vibrations in the water, through the darkness sweeping overhead. A hawksbill turtle stops feeding and begins to flee. The hawksbill, one of the most beautiful and most critically endangered sea turtles on Earth. IUCN classification: critically endangered. Its shell, a breathtaking mosaic of amber and deep brown, was once the very thing that drove humanity to hunt it for centuries. A mature adult weighs roughly 175 pounds, with a shell measuring 26 to 37 inches in length. Minuscule compared to any of its enemies: great whites, tiger sharks, bull sharks, saltwater crocodiles. But it possesses something its predators do not: the ability to thread through crevices in the reef that no large creature can follow. A flattened body, a thin shell, and two pairs of flippers equipped with sharp claws, allowing it to grip rock and haul itself into the narrowest gaps in the coral. The hawksbill also plays a vital ecological role. It feeds almost exclusively on sponges, organisms that most other species cannot digest due to their toxicity. By controlling sponge populations, the hawksbill helps maintain the health of the coral reef. If sponges proliferate unchecked, they smother the coral, killing the entire ecosystem. A species teetering on the edge of extinction, whose disappearance could trigger the collapse of coral reefs across the Pacific. And there is one particularly extraordinary detail. The sex of hatchlings is determined entirely by the temperature of the sand in which the eggs incubate. Warm sand produces females. Cool sand produces males. As global temperatures rise, the ratio tilts ever more dramatically toward females, threatening the long-term reproductive viability of the entire species. When nesting season arrives, the gauntlet becomes longer than ever. Only 1 in 1,000 hatchlings survives to adulthood. One in 1,000. And those that do survive will repeat that epic journey for the rest of their lives, alone. But not every species in the Pacific fights alone. A few hundred miles from the Hawksbill's reef, a strange sound resonates beneath the waves, thousands of high-frequency clicks interspersed with distinctive whistles. A pod of bottlenose dolphins is assembling, and they are not fleeing, they are preparing for battle. Measuring 7 to 13 feet in length, weighing 330 to 1,430 pounds, the bottlenose dolphin is the perfect antithesis of the hawksbill turtle. Where the hawksbill is solitary, dolphins live in groups from a few dozen to several thousand individuals. Where the hawksbill flees, the dolphin stands and fights. Their brain is among the largest relative to body size in the entire animal kingdom. And that brain is equipped with echolocation from the melon on the forehead. The dolphin emits high-frequency clicks. Sound waves fire outward, bounce off objects, return through the lower jaw, and assemble into a 3-dimensional acoustic map. They see with sound in murky water, in total darkness. Echolocation never fails. But what is even more extraordinary is the signature whistle. Each dolphin possesses a unique call, distinct from every other individual. It is their name. Members of the pod call one another by name. When danger strikes, they whistle their names in warning. A society with language, with individual identity, with collective tactics. When they locate a school of fish, bottlenose dolphins do not simply charge in. They take turns, each dolphin surging forward, using its powerful tail fluke to stun the fish before swallowing them whole. Every dolphin assumes a specific role: the herder, the encircler, the striker. And they rotate, ensuring every member of the pod is fed. A complete military strategy executed by creatures with no hands, no weapons, only intelligence and mutual trust. When a dolphin is injured or ill, the pod does not abandon it. They support the wounded member at the surface so it can breathe, sometimes for hours at a stretch. In certain populations in Shark Bay, Australia, dolphins wrap their snouts in sea sponges when probing the sandy seabed for fish, a tool-use behavior passed down from mother to offspring across generations. Dolphin society operates on a fission-fusion model, groups constantly splitting apart and merging back together, fluid as the water itself. There is no fixed territory. When food is plentiful, groups merge into superpods. When food grows scarce, they break into smaller units to reduce competition. The orca, the killer whale, belongs to the same suborder, Odontoceti, as the dolphin, but is 3 times larger and hunts with even greater organization. When orcas appear, bottlenose dolphins close ranks, form a defensive formation, and if possible, flee. Same lineage, same intelligence, different size. And in the ocean, size is still the ultimate currency. And perhaps the most astonishing detail of all, the bottlenose dolphin never truly sleeps. It practices unihemispheric sleep, resting only one half of the brain at a time, keeping one eye open, always scanning for predators. A creature that is never fully off guard, because in this ocean, closing both eyes may be the last thing you ever do. The survivor in the Pacific is not the strongest, nor the fastest. It is the one that cooperates best. But in this ocean, whether you hide or fight, Whether you are tiny or colossal, fear never ends. Because even the giant creatures weighing tons, stretching yards upon yards, must be afraid. At a depth exceeding 1,000 feet, where sunlight is nothing more than a fading memory, a colossal silhouette glides through the silence. Two wings spanning 23 to 30 feet wider than the wingspan of any bird alive. The manta ray, the gentle giant of the ocean, weighing over 2 tons, it is one of the largest fish on the planet. But unlike the great white, the manta ray has no serrated teeth, no venom, no offensive weaponry. It is a filter feeder, a creature that sieves the sea. It possesses the largest brain of any cold-blooded fish, a brain-to-body ratio that dwarfs those of all sharks, tuna, and swordfish. Long-term memory. Complex social behavior at cleaning stations where small fish remove parasites from its skin and mantas queue in orderly lines as though they understand the very concept of waiting one's turn. Some studies suggest that the manta ray may recognize its own reflection, a cognitive feat so rare it is shared only by great apes, dolphins, and elephants. A lifespan of 40 to 45 years longer than many species of shark. When feeding, the manta performs a barrel roll, spinning continuously through the water column to maximize the volume of plankton filtered through its gaping mouth. Sometimes multiple individuals align in sequence, forming a feeding chain to exploit dense plankton blooms. The currents generated by those enormous wings are powerful enough to sweep along small fish, shrimp, and even divers who venture too close. But there is one final predator, one that stands outside every food chain, threatened by no species, yet threatening them all. This predator has no fins, no fangs, no ampullae of Lorenzini. The ultimate predator is us. The hawksbill turtle, critically endangered. Its amber shell is still traded on the black market. Its nesting beaches are swallowed by resorts and drowned in artificial light that disorients hatchlings. The bottlenose dolphin, thousands perish each year as bycatch, entangled in trawling nets, accidental deaths that no species has evolved quickly enough to avoid. The manta ray, listed as threatened under the United States Endangered Species Act. Its gill rakers are harvested for traditional medicine, despite zero scientific evidence of any efficacy. The great white shark, tens of millions killed every year, the vast majority for their fins alone. A single bowl of shark fin soup is erasing the apex predator of the ocean. The Pacific is under siege from overfishing. Fish stocks depleted faster than they can replenish. Millions of tons of plastic drift across the surface and sink to the seabed, infiltrating the food chain from plankton to whale. Plastic, the invisible enemy. A single piece fragments into millions of microplastic particles, mistaken for plankton, ingested by small fish, accumulating in the bodies of large predators, and ultimately arriving on our own dinner plates. Climate change is not merely altering temperature, it is redirecting ocean currents, shifting where plankton congregates, redrawing the entire map of migration. When the foundation of the food chain shifts, the entire ecosystem falters. Oil spills, ocean acidification. Rising water temperatures trigger mass coral bleaching, the homes of thousands of species vanishing in a matter of weeks. The ultimate predator has no fins, no teeth, yet its destructive power surpasses anything the ocean has witnessed in 300 million years. And nothing escapes. But the Pacific is also telling another story, one of